Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whether you're here in the United States or you are somewhere outside of the country. We really appreciate you being with us. Are grateful you are here, joining the Voices for Voices family. If you can do us a big favor and give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost. And even if you're watching or listening on your mobile device, if you could so kindly reach out to uh, 25 or 50 contacts and share the Voices for Voices podcast, a TV show with them. We'd greatly appreciate that. We do have this huge goal of wanting to reach and help at least 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And we can't do that without your help. We aren't here without you wanting the show. We could have packed up a long time ago and just said, you know what? We're done. We're finished. But it's from you, from your demand all over the world, not just here in the United States. And that's just mind blowing to me. And we're grateful, and I personally am absolutely grateful and thankful that you are with us on this particular episode. And you can let your contacts know that they can get the Voices for Voices podcast wherever they get podcasts and wherever you get podcasts. We are everywhere. We have a lot of options. So no matter where you're at, if you're traveling, you're home, you're on the go, uh, you can find Voices for Voices. And if this is your first show, welcome. If you've been with us from the beginning, welcome back. And if this is your first show, we have quite the catalog, over 540 episodes. Um, so we have quite the catalog that you can probably find quite a few earlier shows that we have completed that you'd find interesting and want to listen and would like to watch. So don't take it from me, take it from the viewers, the listeners. It's because of you that we're here. Today is sorry, my nose is itching for some reason. Uh, Today is a Monday when we're filming. Mondays are, I don't, Mondays get a bad rap um, because it, in most cases, means back to work, back to the grind, uh, yeah, back to work. And with us, we really don't have, I'd say every day of the week on any given week, um, yesterday being a rare exception where we haven't filmed, we haven't edited shows, uh, but every day is a Monday for us. So uh, we don't have quite that, I don't know, that nervous feeling that kind of comes over around 2, 3 in the afternoon, or maybe even sooner, maybe a little bit later, that the body recognizes that tomorrow's Monday. I got to get back into the real world, working that 9 to 5, the 8 to 5, the 9 to 9, whatever your hours are. Uh, I think with us being a well-oiled machine, we're able to minimize the amount of time that we are filming and editing from the beginning. Now everything's relative. At the beginning, it took quite a long time to go through the process. Uh, Still takes a bit of time to go through the process, but the early days were the days that were, man, they were brutal. They were very, very brutal, and that's why I said what I said about, well, we could have packed it up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna, take my time to to do this. It, what benefit is there? And then stories started and feedback started coming back to us about the importance and how our show at one time or another has either helped them, you, somebody you know, somebody another person knows. And that's when we thought, this is bigger than us. This is bigger than me as a person. This is bigger than me and others with the organization. It really is. And when you find out that what you're working on could very well be bigger than, just the 8 to 5 and what's the reward to it? Well, for me, helping somebody so they don't take their life, I think that's a pretty big thing. And you might be like, well, yeah, but there's no money in that. There's no, do you get paid for all that? And it's like, no, not necessarily. But then we get pushed back and so, you know what? Why don't you go do your thing? We're gonna do our thing. If you're interested, come on back. And we've had a lot of return listeners, return viewers. It's one of those things where you have to be you have to be confident in what you're doing. And like I said, those early days, I was doing a lot of looking around. Um, I don't know. I don't know about this. Is this gonna pan out? Is this gonna work out? And now here we are, 540 episodes, our downloads and views and the statistics that we can see, the analytics we can see, uh, are just exploding. This month is going to be at least over, what was it, 2021 we started? I think it was at the end of the year 2021. Anyways, so in all the years that we've done this show, all the months that have ticked by, all right, because time doesn't stop, doesn't stand still. Sometimes we want it to keep going and go faster and faster and faster. I don't know. I used to be like that, wait for that, the next big thing. And I still have that. I still have that, impatience. Um, but I think that's just me as a human being that that's all that is. Uh, it's I mean, you see me shaking my head and at a loss for words at times, but it's because it's true. We would not be here. We would not have a show. We would not have an organization. We would not be where we are and where we're going if it wasn't for you. So thank you. You see the hands and the heart in the middle. We want to be careful with everybody's heart. Sometimes topics are very hard to talk about. Sometimes they're easy to talk about. But this doesn't depict me or anybody at our organization. This is the higher power. This is for me. This is God. He's got us. He's got our hearts in his hands. While we think we have control, we really don't. We may be offered two different decisions, and we can pick which one we want, but that doesn't mean that one of the decisions was one that came from him. So getting back to the Monday discussion, I didn't want to wake up this morning. I was snoozing, literally. There's very as I'm thinking and as we're having this episode go, I'm trying to think of ah, I'm trying to think of how many times over the years that my alarm's gone off to wake me up, and it's been more than like a minute or two for me to turn it off and then wake up. But today was one of those. Like, I'm talking like, two, three, four beeps or whatever, however you get woken up. I mean, today was a rough one. I was like, can I just can I just sleep us a little bit more? And I think that's another telltale sign of us and our organization where there's a lot of days we don't want to wake up. We want to keep sleeping. I don't want to say like we don't want to wake up. It's just that we just want to keep sleeping. We want to wake up. I mean, that's for me as a given. Um, but yeah, my alarm went off for quite a while. Uh, and then there's times where I'll turn the alarm off, not realizing I turned the alarm off, and and then I wake up and it's like an hour later, and I'm like, oh no, I was supposed to do, these two things, just one thing before this time. But we're all human, and it's okay. Yeah, I probably count like, from what I remember, maybe I mean less than 10 times. And then now this doesn't count. I was growing up and my mom was waking me up for school because that was always, oh my gosh, it was a struggle to wake up when I was in primary school. Very much so. Very much so. So Mondays just are the one of those days where the week's getting started. We want a little extra rest. It's not that we don't want to do the thing we have to do. Because I was like, well, I, I can't sleep in because I had, I had an errand I needed to run by a certain time. But then I was like, well, then I'm not gonna get to the gym, which today was an on day, not an off day. And so I was like, all right, So this is where it's like a domino effect, right? So hit the snooze, don't wake up in time, and start rushing around trying to get the, get everything situated, and then I get to the gym. Now there's plenty of time for me to go to the gym. I have a lot of hours of the day that I can choose to go. A lot of hours. I just thought, well, I'm up. It's in the vicinity of the errand that I'm have to run. So I probably need to wake up. I need to wake up right now. I can't sleep more. So I got up. So I woke up and the day got started and everything was just fine. Went to ran my errand, went to the gym, got back, and here we are. We're doing a show. Yeah, the weekend was pretty productive. It's just hard when it feels like not making the right decision or decisions. So it's that whole prioritizing thing. And I guess I don't do it very well. And it's something that I'm trying to work on. And then try to balance that with what we're doing with Voices for Voices. Because we're not a fly-by-night show, fly-by-night organization. We're not here and then gone. We don't pick up the most popular Hollywood buzz or, these terms that are trending. Like our show and organization is rooted in mental health, no matter what. Whether it was when we started the organization and whether we're right here, right now, and into the future. Some organizations can say that. Not all, though. It's okay to evolve as a company, as an organization. I just prefer that the reason why we're doing what we're doing is because when we got started, those were the things that got us started. And so I think that it is a good thing to stick with and stay grounded in I won't say philosophy, but to stay grounded in the activities, the themes. I mean, I look at so many other organizations, so many are doing so great work, but they're looking for the buzzwords. They're looking for what's trending. And we're not. We're looking at how do we survive? How do we get through this as a human race? How do we get through these times of darkness. How do we get through people talking down on us? And not even that, not even just that, but how do we get through when people don't say anything? So it's not the fact that they say too much. It's just getting the cold shoulder. It's like, all right, so do I exist or do I not exist? And that for me is is very hard. It's very hard. 'Cause it's like I said, because it's one thing if somebody says something, so you at least know where they stand or where they're at. But when you see these actions and you don't get you don't get any feedback, that makes somebody not feel great, wondering if they're doing the right things. That's without a blueprint of what can I do to get the conversation started again? What can I do? And these are hard topics to talk about. It's true though, and that's why we talk about them because they're personal, because they're intimate, because somebody else is going through or has gone through, or maybe in the future will go through, hopefully not, some of these situations that I'm referring to. You know, and people talk about like, oh, hurt feelings, and I, this is the part like in business where I don't, I don't get it. So this was a couple of years ago, and I was given or met through a Chamber of Commerce event a person I had a need to get Voices for Voices trademarked and registered and all that with the United States Patent and Trade Office. And this individual claimed, oh, yeah, we could do that. Next thing I know, I'm in a 12-month contract with these individuals. And then I end up spending $12,000 as opposed to two or 3,000. So I was upset at myself. I mean, I think we all spread ourselves too thin sometimes, but that's what I did. That's what I was doing. I had spread myself too thin. I wanted to do so many things. and I didn't have any help. And so I was just, I don't know. I just went along with it. Bad decision. Very bad decision. Should have never made it. Should have consulted with somebody. Didn't. So I was very upset with myself. I mean, it was brutal because of the not just because of the money, which was a huge part, but because we weren't getting anywhere as an organization. That 12,000 didn't put us on a map, as far as like, this organization's viral or whatever the thought and thinking process. It didn't even do that. It barely did the thing that I wanted. But it wasn't until like 9 months. And I'd go in every week or once a month, I forget. So some things you just want to forget like that. And I was just like, Justin, what did you do? What did you get into? And so and I'm willing to say it, I made awful decision, terrible decision. I should have stopped at the beginning and said, nope, this is all I need. Either you can do it or you can't. And so it made me upset, partially at these individuals who are milking me for money. And then me going, oh, you really screwed this one up, Justin. Those inner thoughts that, come in our minds. Like, see, told you couldn't do it. And so I had all this negative talk going on in my mind. You're right, rightfully so. I made a terrible decision. So then we start questioning, are we doing what we want to do? Are we doing what helps people? And so, we're kind of like looking in a mirror and like evaluating ourselves. I kind of think of the scene where have the cold water and you splash on your face and then, some great idea just comes along. Well, it wasn't like that for me. I think I might have splashed my face with the cold water, but the thing um, wasn't happening, and I wasn't. Again, I was so bogged down with stuff that didn't even matter with our organization. I don't mean that. I guess I don't mean it didn't matter. It just didn't matter to the extent it was being told to me. Like the first thing. Man, you got to get an office. You got to get an office. People come see you, blah, blah, blah. I got this office space, they're really cheap. And And I'm sitting there thinking like, man, we don't have donations to cover this. So I can't get an office. I just, it just won't work. Then there was the event that I held. I think it was our second annual, a brand new day event. And this particular organization, again, milking me for money. They were telling me this and that, and they would help market it, and they would do this, and they didn't do anything. They didn't. They didn't show up to the table and do what they said they were going to do. I mean, I feel bad when I'm not able to do what I tell somebody that I can do with a high level of certainty. I was given, oh yeah, that's easy. We'll let everybody know. Didn't sell any more extra tickets because of their messages and their marketing. Yet I was paying thousands of dollars for this. So all this is just meant to be an experience that I went through. And it doesn't mean that everything's close to perfect now. Doesn't mean that. It just means that I'm a little bit more careful about things like this. Like if somebody says, oh, this, and that, I'll go and meet with them. Are they a real person? Let me see what you said you can do. You know, talk about, living and learning and researching and never stop educating ourselves. The reason I went through that whole story, because I don't want you or anybody else to go through something like that. If something doesn't feel right, if somebody says, "Yeah, Justin, I can do that," have them go through a bunch of the steps to prove to you that they can do this. Because what else I learned was that this organization had never done what I was asking them to do. They had never done it. They had no attorney on staff. And ultimately, that's when it ended up happening. I ended up not only spending the 12 grand and have it not pan out from no ticket sales, um, no registration from the United States Patent and Trade Office for voices. I had to still go to an attorney and spend 5,000 or and even more than what I wanted to spend. But I was so bent on we got to get this trademarked. We got to get this trademarked. And that's some of the silliest, worst decision making I've ever made in my life. And I have no problem talking about it because there ain't nobody on this earth that's perfect. Nobody. I don't care who you are, where you're from, you're not perfect. I don't care if you're the king, the queen, the prince, the princess. It don't matter. You're not perfect. Nobody is. You just have a lot of people that handle these types of things. So you don't have to be in the know and have to worry. You don't have to think about that. Well, I do. So that was the double whammy. Spending the 12 grand and getting zilch, zero in return, and still not having the application filed. So I had to find an attorney. Oh, I found one. They gouged me. Yep. Got the job done finally. I just took the person at their word when I met them at this Chamber of Commerce meeting that they could do it, that they've done it before, that they know how to do it. They know all the steps, that they know all this and that, the other. They didn't know anything. No. And I'll go as far as to say anybody in the Akron area, Akron, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, you'll see a review that I did back way back when in that honeymoon phase, the first month or so. I'm telling you, Hopkins consulting, marketing, whatever they changed their name to, but Hopkins is the name. I vehemently am begging you not to do business with them. I'm telling you right here, right now, do not do business with them. They lie, they lie, and they lie. They'll take your money, bring you into the office, right? You want some water or coffee? They do the whole thing, the whole dog and pony show. When it comes down to substance, you're not getting it. So Hopkins, I pray that nobody from our Voices for Voices viewing, viewership, listenership does any business with you. And this is a public service announcement, public safety announcement. Why? Because I think losing your money is a public safety concern. Not getting the job done, people in the community need to know this. That's why we're talking about it. That's why we're sharing about it. So I was driving home. Yeah. When I finally got that contract finished, it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And then I put another one on with the attorneys, but at least these attorneys knew what they were doing more than Hopkins. Do not do business with Hopkins. Please, I'm begging you. If you are, get out of your contract if you can. I don't want to see anybody else hurt, anybody else swindled. Because we started the conversation where it was just going to be 3,000, they were going to be able to do the thing, and then it turned into a contract. Like, oh, we're going to do all these things for you, all this marketing. And then, like I said, there were no additional tickets sold from their marketing initiatives. There just wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. There wasn't. So we talked a little bit lighthearted. We got into some of the uh some of the harder topics on a Monday. So hopefully you're doing well, getting through it. And thanks for tuning in, being a part of the Voices for Voices family. If you can give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost. Pull out your phone if you're on your phone, go to your contacts, reach out to 25, 50, 75, 100, and share the Voices for Voices podcast with them. They won't be uh, they won't be upset, and you won't either. And they can, and you can find our Voices for Voices podcast wherever you and your contacts get your and their podcasts. So wherever you get your podcast from, Voices for Voices is there as well. So until next time, let's celebrate the voices of everybody in the world, and let's be a voice for not only ourselves, but somebody else in need. Thank you very much. We'll see you very soon. Bye bye for now.